Hello everyone, I'm Brian and today I'm doing a reaction to 10 things not to do in Delhi, India. I ended up picking this video because, things that you should probably know about before you go visit a country. And it is a country definitely I would like to go see one day, hopefully, if the time were to ever come and if I ever get enough money for that. This is the same thing I did when me and my friend were talking about going to Japan. We just did a lot of research, just watched a lot of videos, things to do, things not to do, what to be aware of, all these things. Same thing I want to do with India as well, just to learn to see what the things that you can and cannot do and why. But I did look at its like to dislike ratio. It seems the dislike ratio is a bit higher for the tolerance that I typically think of. So I'm kind of curious as to why that is. So I'm gonna listen to what it has to say, ask questions, and I hope you guys can help me out with that. So let's go ahead and do 10 things not to do in Delhi. Mind you, I will do his other video, which is 10 things to do or awesome things to do in Delhi as well, which also has actually a very good like to dislike ratio. So he seems to know what he's talking about in some cases, or maybe some things have changed in that time.
Okay, so we just experienced a pretty common Delhi scam where they take you to a department store called Delhi Hot, as opposed to the actual market, which is called Dilli Hot, spelled D-I-L-L-I. Then they obviously get a cut from whatever you buy in that store. So now you know.
Is that a thing? That guy just stared back.
When you say culture shock, chaos, and scams, the first thing you might think of is India. But the country.
Well, I will say I've been watching a lot of certain videos, like scam videos, and they seem to have a very big operation in India. Although I know there's a lot of actually cooperation between, well, I guess foreign countries and India trying to shut these things down. Again, I cannot necessarily blame people for trying to find a way to make a living, but how you go about it is a big problem. But a culture shock for me? No, not really, actually. Now, scams, I mean, there's scams going on everywhere. Everyone's always trying to scam. It's nothing tied to any particular country or nationality or whatever. That's just part of being, well, not part of being human, but that's just human beings, Scams go from little scams like, I don't know, the one I'm familiar with in the US is, at least the one I've seen, is where they do the card thing where they try to scam you from your money, making you think that you're winning, and then they take your money. So that's scams over here. And then you have the Microsoft scans, I've been watching videos of, because I have to be aware of this, and I have to let the people that I know and know about it not to fall for it. Actually, someone I know did fall for it. So I also have to be aware of it. I have to be aware of all kinds of scams if I can learn as much as possible.
The country is also home to some of the friendliest people in the world, killer street food.
I'll say that, yes. Again, in the video on medias that I've watched, Indian people has always been portrayed as always nice. I don't think there's ever a video I've seen Indian people as portrayed being mean or whatever.
Food and stunning monuments. There's so much to unpack when it comes to India, but before you go, you're going to need to know a couple of things. Here are 11 things not to do in India.
I mean, those things, 10? I thought it was 10. I guess bonus for this one. So again, things could have changed since the time he made this. I don't know, so that's why I'm going to ask, and maybe he got it wrong now because it has changed over that time, or maybe it doesn't pertain to your particular part of your country.
Number 1. Taxi scams. This is probably the first thing that you'll run into while in India. And the way it works is you land at the airport, hop in a cab, and tell him your destination. At which point he tells you that the place you're going to is closed, relocated, or, and I swear I'm not making this up, one time a taxi driver told me that my hotel had burned down. And of course all of this is done to get you to go to a different hotel or a different place in which the driver will get a small percentage of whatever you buy there. Basically a finder's fee. The easiest way to avoid this is just to use Uber. That way you know you're getting the best price and the safest ride.
Have you guys ever experienced? Well, I guess technically, if you live there, you won't necessarily be scammed because generally if you live in that area. But if you're a tourist, there are scams in every tourist location, no matter what. Actually, now that I think about it, because tourism, people who go in places and tour in there don't really know what's going on around. They don't typically research, like, if the place is still open. Sometimes, and so they end up getting scammed.
Number 2, pick a hand. Now this is a common misconception, and many people will tell you not to use your left hand while in India to do almost anything. Now this is actually only partly true. A better way of putting it is not to use both hands for everything. That's because most Indians don't use tissues or toilet paper in the bathroom. And
That true? I mean, that kind of makes sense. I've heard that too sometime in the past. Basically, it's because, again, tissues and toilet paper, even if you have them, you still use your left hand to wipe your butt. And you don't want your good hand, I suppose, to get dirty, so that's why you always shake with your right hand and you always wipe with your left hand. And that's what I heard some time ago. I don't remember when or where I heard that. But it made sense to me. It's like, yeah, if you're going to get one of your hands dirty, you don't want to use that to greet people. That's going to be like, are you serious? That's your nasty hand. It's weird to say that, but yeah, that's your nasty hand, right hand's for everything clean. But yeah, I mean, I don't think necessarily that's still true today, but it could be. I don't know. Let me know.
well, you get the idea. Now as a foreigner, that may not matter when you're visiting. If you want to be culturally correct, just pick one hand and use that. For example, if you're right-handed, only use your right hand to pick up food. Or if you're left-handed, only use your left hand to pick up food. There are thousands of left-handed people in India, so I always find it funny when people say don't use your left hand.
Oh, good. I was going to be afraid those things were going to fall when you lift
Number
that up.
3, don't drink the water. Now this is probably the most obvious and probably the most important rule. Almost nowhere is drinking tap water safe in India, and you should only be drinking bottled water while you're there. Now typically the water quality is so bad that you even have to look out for eating fresh vegetables that have been washed using the water. So when it comes to street food especially, only eat things that you know have been cooked.
I will say that's the same in my birth country, actually. I just drink bottled water. Uh, unless you boil the water, you definitely want to drink bottled water.
Number 4, don't disrespect the cow.
Ooh, man. Did they have to bore through the nose like that, or is that just an open airway? I don't know. I never looked up on the cow's nose before.
The cow is sacred in Hinduism, and millions of Hindus worship the cow as a goddess. Therefore, the cow is considered a sacred animal, as it provides them life by continuously providing milk. Because of that, beef is not incorporated into the Indian diet at all. And if a cow walks into the middle of the street and blocks all of the traffic, no one will touch it. They'll either wait for it to move or politely try and move around it.
Let me ask, actually, now that I think about it, so do a lot of Indian people drink milk? I absolutely love milk. But I also know, heard that I think 70% of the population is lactose intolerant. I wonder if that's true to Indian people, or are they more tolerant of milk, lactose, actually?
It's actually kind of hilarious to watch. So if you see one, and you likely will, try and be as respectful as possible. Number 5, count your change. Now this may seem obvious to some of you, but I've run into my fair share of travelers who have a problem with this. And that's since they assume it's a government-run organization, they'll automatically be given back the right amount of change, which is definitely not true in India. For example, when I was visiting Humayun's tomb, which is one of the main attractions in Delhi, the ticket office gave me back 100 less rupees than I should have gotten. And when I noticed and went back to tell them, they didn't even look twice and just gave me another 100 rupees. They didn't even care that I caught them lying. It was just business as usual for them.
We've moved on from cricket. Now we're trying to figure out how these exercise machines work.
This one raises some questions.
All right, you give it a shot.
Number 6, don't be polite. Given that India is a country home to almost 1.3 billion people,
be polite.
personal space doesn't really exist there. And so because of that, you'll find yourself getting pushed around in crowds. Don't take it as an insult or aggressive behavior, it's just their way of doing things. Oh, and you can forget about people lining up in a queue. It's more of a you snooze, you lose mentality.
Really? Wondering. first, well, I guess it's not first come, first service. First come, you get it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, again, I've never been over there. Don't know anything about the culture, so I'm hoping that whether this video is true or not, people will let me know. So I don't think, honestly, I don't think I'll ever get a chance to leave this country anymore. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm really thinking about that. I don't think I'll ever be rich enough to go even to the place that I want to go to, or even back to my birth country. Honestly, I'm afraid to go back to my birth country.
Number 7. Don't talk politics. India is one of the most diverse countries in the world, with over 720 different dialects. With so many different cultural nuances, languages, and ideologies, politics can be a tricky subject in India, and you'll find that people will become very animated if you bring it up. In the interest of not offending anyone, I'd recommend maybe toning back the political talk. Even more so when it comes to religion.
So we're not allowed to have.
So is that true too? In the United States right now, politics is a very heated discussion. It's, I guess some people describe it as, I don't know, left and right. We have a two-party system, and it kind of sucks. You don't have at least 3. It would be nice to have at least 3, a moderate or something, but it seems like the left and the right keeps getting further and further and further apart, that there's just no middle ground anymore, you know? It's just either all or nothing, basically.
Beer in this restaurant because they don't have a liquor license, so we're gonna hide it in these cups.
Number 8. Proper greetings. Now, I can say without a doubt that when you go to India, you will meet someone there, and it's important to properly know how to greet them. Generally, instead of shaking hands, people place their hands together flat against their chest and say namaste. Furthermore, men do not shake hands or touch women when greeting them. Indian men will sometimes shake hands, and women will sometimes shake hands with Western women, but there's never a crossover between the two.
Well, especially nowadays, well, not necessarily anymore, especially with what's going around. You don't want to shake hands. So honestly, we should probably adopt better ways of just greeting each other. I mean, just waving and saying hi is not too bad of a greeting, you know. Shaking hand usually is a formal greeting, I suppose, especially with business and whatnot. That's quite formal. But you know, greeting people is like just saying hey, waving your hand. You don't even have to wave your hand. You can just say, hey, how you doing? You know, greeting.
Number 9. Don't point with your feet. In Indian culture, the foot is the lowest part of the body, both literally and symbolically. That means that using your foot to point to anything is considered rude and disrespectful. And even though you probably won't run into that situation when you're traveling, it's still important to know.
I point with my head. When my hands are full, I'm like, yeah, it's over there. So, I don't know. I point with my feet, maybe? I don't know. I'm trying to think if I ever point. I probably did. Maybe. I know I use my feet to hold the door open sometimes because, again, trying to get in the door while using both hands, you know. I don't have a third arm to hold something else at a point or whatever. So do what I can to help people out when my hands are full.
Number 10. Avoid revealing clothing. In 2016, India's Culture and Tourism Minister said that female tourists visiting the country should not wear skirts or other revealing clothes in order to ensure their safety. Now, of course, because he's the tourism minister, his comments are going to be more conservative. But given the relationship between men and women in India, foreign women traveling there should leave their revealing outfits at home in order to not attract unwanted attention.
Okay, so we run into a slight glitch. We lost our driver, Ricky. Ricky's gone. His car's here,
Maybe he lost his car.
and he can't leave without the car, so
We're just gonna wait here for hopefully not too long.
He did say 11 things in the very beginning, right?
Thank you.
What was that?
close call.
What was that?
So guys, that's it for the video. If you stuck around to the end, thank you, it means a lot. Go ahead and click the video on the top left to see what you should do while in India, and click the video on the bottom to see what you shouldn't do while in Japan.
Yeah, those are the things that me and my friend watched. We had an intention of going to Japan on whenever the Olympics was. Was it 2020? But with I'm sorry, the Olympics, going to Japan, but Olympics, it's like, it's gonna cost too much, and then the COVID stuff. So it's like, well, that's scratched. I mean, we were talking about it. Doesn't necessarily mean we were gonna go. So that's why we did a lot of just research and curiosity. Again, this was before we started the channel. Now, so the other thing I do want to watch is the 10 things to do in Delhi. But so the things he said, now, mind you, I can understand that it may not happen in your particular part of the country. It could happen in some parts of the country, or maybe it's completely. I don't think anything will ever necessarily be completely abolished, but I'm sure for the most part it'll be gone. And let me know, are most of what he said still true today, or has things changed? Pointing with your feet thing, I mean, it's kind of weird. And that last part though, what was going on there? That ticket, I didn't quite understand that part. I guess, do you need some kind of ticket to visit India, or is he like in a special compound where you need a ticket to be in there, like a visitor's pass, basically? Anyways, that's all I have to say or react to about 10 things not to do in Delhi. The next one I want to do is his counter to that, which is 10 awesome things to do in Delhi. So that's all I have to say about this. If you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.